Hi,
Good
good
morning.
morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Hi, good morning, Kunle. How are you?
You're welcome, my leader. Good morning.
All right, how are you? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, Jane. Good morning, Faith. Good morning, Kenneth. Good morning, Emeka. Shamsin. Good morning. Good morning, Timothy. Good morning. Please, who is user and Infinix Note 10? You can rename so I can know that you're not a robot. All right, good morning, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining us today. So let's just quickly do a check-in. How are you today? For me, I'm at home. I ought to be in church, but I couldn't go to church because of this session. So how are you today? Let's do a quick check-in. How are you today? Where are you? What are you working on? Are you resting today? Are you going to Wambe and all that? Let's do a quick check-in. You can unmute and talk, please. Evelyn, good morning.
Good morning, Bukola.
Hi, good morning, Sue. How are you? Where are you? Are you at work? Are you at the pharmacy?
Yes. I am currently tagging drugs as we speak.
Oh, I trust you. All right, thank you, Sue. So who else? Let's do a quick check-in. Yes, anyone can go next. It's not something difficult. If you don't want to put on your video, it doesn't mean you can just unmute and talk. Let's do a quick check-in. Like I said, okay, Oluwatobi, you can go ahead. Okay, I can see Oluwatobi and Kunle. Please go ahead now.
Okay, all right. Good morning, Bukola. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, currently I'm at home. Although I was supposed to be in church by now, but probably after the meeting, I'll be on my way to church because I still have something to do in church today.
You are TNTCN?
Yeah.
Igomu or Yaba?
The headquarter, Igomu.
Be deceiving yourself. If it is headquarter, it is Yaba. Yaba is the mother of all of them. Although I attend right, but Yaba is the mother of all the centers. Before you go, Jabba was.
Yeah, of course. I
Yeah,
agree
sure,
with
sure.
you. But now we are the headquarters, you
All right. Thank you. So who wants to go next? Thank you, Kule. Oh yeah. We can't move on without doing this. So I have to hear your voice. Oh yeah.
Good morning, Bukola.
Hi, Jesus loves me. Good morning.
Yeah, yeah, I'm at home. I'm just resting and enjoying the weekend.
Is that what?
I said I'm
Is
at
that
home
too
and just enjoying the weekend. Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have any plan of going out today, right?
Not at all.
Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. Like I said, we have to do a quick check-in. So quickly, either you drop it in the chat or you can unmute and talk. What are your expectations for the session today? What are your expectations? You can drop it in the chat and you can unmute and talk, but I prefer if I hear your voice. As you can see my face, you can hear my voice, and I think you should give you the privilege of seeing your beautiful and handsome faces. So you can go ahead. What are your expectations for today?
It's me again, yo. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'll put on my camera since you are doing the same, but it won't be for long.
Oh, say this handsome face. You have been hiding for me for years. It's not fair.
Thank you. I actually wanted to find out what is actually look for, because I've actually been to interviews. I've gone on tech interviews, and there are not very many, but most of them are normally question-based kind of interview. The last one I tried to do was a front-end engineering intern interview, but when I saw the questions, I just saw I had a lot of things to work on. So I want to see the other parts I may need to understand in tech interviews before I go on and start applying again. Basically, that's why I'm joining. That feels really important in my job search.
All right, that's good. I sincerely hope that your expectations will not just be met, it will be exceeded today. Who wants to go next? Who wants to go next?
Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Lanre. How are you? Good morning.
Actually, my name is Latif.
Oh, Latif. Oh, sorry. I'm the one that missed it. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, my expectation is that though I've learned a lot of programming languages, and what really made me to give up was that I couldn't get internship, and I believe attending this webinar, or can I call it a program, will give us a go ahead, like an hint on how we can apply and probably structure our CV. So that's
All right, thank you, Latif. I hope your expectation, like I said, is not just met, it will be exceeded, hopefully. All right, who wants to go next? What are your expectations for today's events, for today's session? What are your expectations? Oh yeah, I haven't seen anything in the chat yet. No one is talking. What's wrong? Am I the only one here?
Okay, let me go next. Okay.
Okay, who is going next? Hope you can. Let me even be sure people can hear me. If you can hear me, just use the emoji chat. Raise your hand. Let me be sure people can hear and see me. Okay, only Timothy can hear and see me. I think it's only Timothy. Who else? Okay, Bamigboye. Only Timothy and Bamigboye. Maybe others can say, oh, Latif, oh, thank you, can see me and you can hear me. Okay, just 3 people can see and hear me. Just 3 people. Kunle, Nemeka, okay, you can see and hear me. Jesu Femi. Infinix Note 10. All right. Hi, Infinix. How are you? Nice to meet you. Can you please rename? Who else can hear and see me? I just want to be sure everybody can hear and see me, because I'm not getting the kind of response I anticipate. Okay, you can hear me, Damilola. Thank you. I think there are only just 7 people that can, 6 people, and we are 21 here that can hear and see me. Who else can hear and see me? I just want to be sure, please. Rachel, Oluwatobi, thank you. Okay, just 8 people can hear and see me. Okay, all right. Thank you. At least we have a considerable number of people that can hear and see me. All right, like I said, we are doing a quick check-in. So what are your expectations for today so that we can know how to drill these guest speakers today to get answers from them? I tell you, it's not easy getting them to come. All right. Infinix Note 10, at least let me hear you, so I will know you are not a phone. I'm just kidding. Infinix, who is Infinix Note 10? Infinix Note 10. You don't know who you are. Okay, no problem. All right, so why that is going on, that, okay, oh, thank you.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, this is Mercy. I'm actually in church now. I can't talk much. I don't get to church now for the
You said what?
concept.
Oh.
I'm actually in church. I just got to church now, so I can't talk much.
Okay, Mercy. Okay, no problem. All right.
I'll join you guys later.
Please play for us.
Okay.
So you need prayer, right, Kunle?
Definitely, I need
We all need prayer.
you want it now, of course.
Abi?
Yeah, of course. I really need prayer. All right, merci.
Okay.
Well, I'm expecting a lot from today's session, especially now that I'm seriously wondering about changing a job. And I think it was last month or so, I went for an interview. Then, I was confident that I did well. But after 2 weeks, then they sent me a mail that, okay, we are sorry, and something. So I was now wondering that I did well.
I think I murdered it, give them all, right?
Yes, I give them, but I don't know what I actually, maybe there are some questions they asked and I couldn't do justice to it. Maybe I don't know. So actually looking forward to understand more about tech questions for tech interview and how to package the CV very well. Yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you, Kunle. Thank you very much for that. Who else wants to? Okay, Michael and Latif, your answer up. Michael, Latif, and Timothy, your answer up. You want to say something?
Okay, good morning. Morning. I just about, let's say, 5 months ago, I find myself into the tech field as a product manager, and I'm also a student of I'm a product management student in art school presently, and I'm getting to know more about tech, and I'm also an intern as an associate product manager where I work presently, and I just find every opportunity like this to get to know more so that I can maximize the time that I have to just get more knowledge at least and learn and get to meet people that like mine basically. And I really enjoyed the last one because also I also like kind of beginning to have interest in data, but really I'm just weaving like all around the tech, not really certain yet which part to just sit on. because I do the e-commerce. I use WordPress also. I can do little twerking in WordPress, and I like the data session for last week Saturday, and I feel
Okay.
like I should just you know give it more time to see what today is going to bring, and I hope to get the best and also
Okay.
connect with everyone
All
just
right.
like that.
Thank you so much. And I hope that you will get everything you look forward to get today. So before I call on the first speaker, because I can see that I think he's here with us already, right? Before I call on the first guest speaker, what is your most, in quotes, your most annoying, or will I say in quotes, terrible job interview that you have had? What is the most annoying that you have ever had? What made it annoying, or why did you feel uncomfortable with the interview session? Anyone want to go ahead? Do you have any experience of any interview session that at the end of the day just felt it wasn't worth it, Jare? How can you be asking me about climate change and I'm here to apply for a project manager role? anyone? Timothy and Latif. Timothy, Latif, who wants to go?
For actually, I've not gone for an interview before.
Okay.
for this particular role. I've been a music producer for about 8 to 10 years. I've worked
Okay.
outside tech, like that's what I've done with all my life. Like I've been in the studio making music, recording and all. But I just about 6 months ago, I just diverted into tech, and even where I'm working presently, I didn't really apply. Like they just called me that okay, I have this skill that I can work with them, and I started working, and I've been with them. Like I've never really tried to say okay, I want to start searching for work. I feel I'm not ready yet, but maybe not that per se. But I just feel like I still need to, like I see people that have been doing this for a while. I see where they are, and I know it's never too late to divert into something else. But I've never LinkedIn, those kind of LinkedIn kind of job hunting and all that. I do that too. But I know I'm still not there yet. But I've not really started going out for interviews and all.
Okay. All right, Timothy. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you. All right. So I don't know if our guest speaker is ready for us. Hi, Shegun. Can you hear me? Good morning.
Hello, good morning. How are you doing, Bukola?
I'm fine. Are you ready for us, or we should just keep on engaging so you can know people's expectations for today's session? Are we ready for a truckload of questions?
Yeah, we could just engage the audience with a few more questions. Just trying to sort out the technical glitch here, but it should be over in about 2 minutes.
Okay, so while that is on, right? For me personally, I don't think I've gone for any formal interview before. All right, but I've had people say that they don't like how, in quotes, HR people or recruiters do in Nigeria. You understand? They say sometimes they are not friendly and all that. So I don't know how true is that. Is there anyone that has any experience about not having a good feel about themselves doing an interview and they felt belittled to an extent? Do you have any experience at all of such? Anyone? Timothy, you are still raising your hand. You want to say something? Hi, Timothy, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, let me just bring it down.
All right. It's only what I've not had faith, boys. Jane, Kenneth, okay, let's Nemeka, Olatunji, what's happening? Oluwatobi, Rachel. Okay, Tosan is here too. Victor. Hi, what is happening, guys? Let's talk now.
Hi
What's
guys.
happening?
I'm in noisy.
Hi,
I'm in a noisy
Maga.
environment.
Magasa.
Yeah, I'm in transit. I'm at the airport, so it's a bit
Okay.
noisy. I won't be able to contribute as much as I want.
Okay, I think can you be audible a bit?
Okay, hold on a second.
All right.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was just apologizing that I may not be able to contribute as much. I'm in transit. I'm at the airport. Very noisy.
Okay. All right. I understand.
Thanks.
Just please go and make the money and bring it to us in Nigeria, I beg.
So,
All right. Thank you, Tosa. Thank you. All right. I think.
Okay, let me just say something. I don't. It's not that I really have problem with the HR or housing. I really have problem with Nigerian companies. You know, the way they put out the job adverts, where they will say, okay, they need a software engineer, and at the same time, they want him to, to be an expert in networking, at the same time to be an expert in graphic designs. At the same time, you have to be very good in UI and UX. It's somehow frustrating that how do you want somebody, just a single person, to be able to do all these things at the same time. So it's really frustrating. So sometimes when I see jobs adverts like that, I don't really bother myself to even apply, or I don't really waste my time, because I know that maybe by the time I get there, they might be telling me some kind of stuff, and like, so that's why I didn't know. I can't just be applying for jobs that giving somebody that was supposed to handle a single role about 4 or 7 roles. That is the most annoying part about Nigerian job adverts.
All right, thank you. I believe our guest speaker is ready for us, but while he tries to fix certain things from his end, all right, he might not be able to share slides. Okay, so I hope we'll all walk through this journey with him while we try to, or is there someone? Okay, I'm coming. Just give me a few seconds. If I can help him to share slides from my end, just give me a few seconds, please. Hi, Tunde. Hi, Tunde. Can you hear me? I can see your hand is up.
Yes, I am. Good morning, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
And good morning to everyone. So the thing is, you were making mention of weird questions that interviewers ask during interviews.
Yeah.
I'm just a core member, though I have not I think the only time I've been interviewed, I won't say it was really an interview, was when I went for where I was being posted, my PPA then. The man was like, they're going to make me join the networking team, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, I want to join the data analytics team. So I left the place, I didn't work there. So it didn't really ask me a lot of questions, but while in Unilag, I attended one show for people that were in their finals. And I think Johnson Abali was the man's name. So it was like, I recruit graduates for companies. And when I come there, you studied banking and finance, right? Then when you get to the company, they will still put you on to learn for like 3 to 6 months on the job. So why am I employing you when the school has already prepared you for 4 years? So it was like, they can ask you, that himself, that he can ask you lots of weird questions like, what do you think about the war in Ukraine and Russia? Then you're applying for a banking and financial. What do you think about the war going on in Ukraine and Russia? That some people will just like, they'll be vexed and you'll see it on their face that, Master, I did banking and finance. Why should I be interested in Ukraine and Russia? So he said that there's something more that most interviewers look out for. That you should not just be a robot, that you should be vast, you should be dynamic, you should know about what is going on around you, blah, blah, blah. And because he said that very, very soon that some of the jobs that bankers do, that people do like that, robots will actually take over and they will do them better than humans. So that it should be a little bit more dynamic, that should know about what is going on, that they want people that are actually, that are intellectuals, that know a miniature of things, not just banking. Don't be a robot, don't be trained for one thing. So that's what I learned from that man that day, and that is why I just share that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So please make a hint from today, know about the Russia and Ukraine war, please. Know about climate change, know about what's happening in Iran and Iraq currently. All right. It's kind of funny, but it is true. So thank God now we have our guest speaker, our first guest speaker today. I remember I shared the agenda with us, but we have to switch things a bit. All right. And our first guest speaker today, I hope you can hear me. I'm excited. So our first guest speaker today is Mr. Oluwasegun Ojudun. All right. He currently works as team manager in Tech Experts, and he manages teams of engineers that provide enterprise support for Microsoft's ERP. Go and use Google to search for the meaning of ERP. For finance and operations, he manages teams in Bulgaria, Lagos, which covers EMEA. I hope you know that. If you don't know that, that's an interview question. Go and use Google. and which is the North American region. All right. He's passionate about coaching and mentoring, which is most part of the things he does at Tech Experts. He also during interview processes, you see some orgas, and you'll be wondering, this person, is this the HR person? But most of the time, it's part of the team that conducts interview for potential employees at Tech Experts. He has a BSc in computer engineering, but his love for people and processing made him to be interested in programming, app development, and so on and so forth. Well, I can show you, see his profile is long. Don't let us girls go there. So finally, he's a never work alone person. If you know, you know. But recently, I've been working alone, you know. The result hasn't been back to back like last season.
Liverpool, I get it. All right.
Yes.
So I never see. You said what? You wanted to say something, Kule?
They are seriously working.
You better know what you are saying in case you can't jam me, man. Take a smile for interview on your own. Let's welcome Mr. Segun Ojudun. You can use the clapping emoji. You can unmute and say welcome. You can drop it in the chat. Let's just give him a warm welcome.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
all right. So finally, as he talks, if you have questions, kindly drop it in the chat. All right. Then we'll take the questions after the guest speakers are done with their sessions. All right. So, Mr. Ojudun.
Yeah. Thank you.
Intellectual lectern or platform is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Bukola. I really appreciate it. And kudos to the entire DT Emeral group of the Covenant Christian Nation. And also everyone in the audience, really appreciate you taking out time. We know how important, time is in today's world. And, considering that today is a weekend, first day of our weekend, a very super long weekend, like we used to say, I'm, taking out that time, about 2 hours there, to invest in ourselves, right, and also to grow ourselves, to learn and unlearn, relearn, and all of that. So I'd say really appreciate you giving me this platform to share the little that I know about recruitment processes and what technical companies, tech firms are always on the lookout for, the recruiters especially. So I think the session, we started with the questions were, they were the answers were quite funny, but then that's the truth. And just like the situation that I'm in right now, like I used to tell my my team at work, we support a dynamic application, and so we're expected to be dynamic in nature. And basically that's what all of humanity is about. You have to be dynamic to be able to adapt to different challenges, right? Like this morning I've had my slide prepared. I touched it up this morning. I was going through it, pacing up and down, like, okay, how do I do this? And then a few minutes before I switched to my my laptop, and then all of a sudden PowerPoint is decide to do whatever it wants to do. Well, it's fine. I'll just walk through, and if I'm able to get the slides up before the end of my time, then of course I'll still share with you. But it's not a lot. It's just for us to touch on the key elements. So the recruitment space. I'll start with the recruitment space in Nigeria. I'll say it's a bit more challenging than what we have in the other parts of the world. Let's say the Western world. And many of us are of the opinion that Nigerian companies in code usually have, maybe they have the people they want to take, and then they just do all these things for formality. Formalities just to say, okay, we give people a chance. And I remember, and I've been part of a lot of interviews where these companies will send out invite, those days before things became virtual and a lot more digital. And then you'll have to wake up in the morning, probably borrow a suit from somebody or a jacket, or you wear your tie, and then you rush down to the location, and then you get there and you meet like 500 people and be like, hey, God, when is it going to get to my turn today? And things like that. So well, technology has helped to change a lot of things. And then at the end of the day, we found out that, maybe 2 people from the audience were taking, or 3 people, and then we'd be like, the Nigerian system is not fair. But a lot of things have changed now. I mean, with the current climate where there are a lot of international opportunities, people are traveling abroad, leaving the country, and that's actually creating, I'll say, a bigger gap or more opportunities for people who are still in Nigeria, like me and some of us. And that our brother who is at the airport, maybe he's on his way to the UK. We're not sure. It's the jackpot season, so anything can be happening right now. So yeah, but then it's creating opportunities for people. So you want to ask yourself, what exactly are recruiters actually looking out for? But before we go into that, for some of us who have never been in an interview before, I would not say that there's nobody who has been in an interview before, because it's either you're selling your product, you're selling your craft, or you're just talking about what you're doing. An interview is just a session where somebody on the other side is just trying to get to know more about you, to know if you can actually fit into their plan or what they can buy from you. Everything in life is about buying and selling. We're all salespeople, and Bukola is one of the very best in that area. So we're all selling something or buying something. So if you've not been in a proper or a corporate job interview before, it doesn't mean that you've not done an interview. You must have at one point in time, sold something either about yourself or something you possess and things like that that somebody else is interested in. So one of the things that I've seen, or let me start by saying, for technical roles, and this applies to almost everything basically, but for technical roles, the first thing you want to look out for is the company you're targeting, or this company that's brought out this role, and they put it out in public. What exactly are they about, right? The position, my current position, gives me that platform to interact a lot with potential candidates, people crossing over from other companies, and even more recently, fresh graduates, NYC, people just leaving NYC, looking for their first job, no corporate experience and the rest. You tend to wonder, what exactly is this company about? And that's one of the homeworks that many people do not do. We see an advert, and then we see the role. And then, the next thing is we start, looking for our CV, and then we're trying to adjust a few things, and then we're, pushing it out. One of the key things you want to do before you apply for a role is to, first of all, understand what the company is about. What is the mission of that company? And what are they trying to do? Because at the end of the day, you get into a job, and then the next thing you're doing is
prayer. 3 hours prayer. 3 hours prayer.
okay. So the next thing you're doing, I think somebody needs to mute.
Don't worry, I've muted him. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. So the next thing people do is, they're currently, they're looking for their CVs, maybe it's on their phone or in their mailbox, on their laptop, and they're sending. You've not really looked at what the company is about, because to be honest, recruitment now has changed. It's been digitalized, right? You see it on LinkedIn, you see it on Facebook, you see it everywhere, WhatsApp status and all of that, right? And so there are a lot of people who have access to this information, just like you, right? So imagine a recruiter sitting down somewhere in the HR office, or a team, the recruitment team sitting down, and they have to go through 5,000 CVs. 5,000 is even a big number. Let's say 100 CVs. It's a lot of work, right? It's most people, the CVs now is about a page, 2 pages on the average. That has changed on like what we used to have way back, where we used to have like 5, 6 pages. But now it's about a page thereabout, or 2 pages at the most, right? Where you list out your, everything about you that relates to that work. But do we actually take time to tailor, our skills, what we've done, educational background, our own objectives to what that company is about? Because what the recruitment team is looking for, from the little I've seen so far, is they try to look for key things. They try to look for people who are aligned to what they are doing, right? What the company is doing currently, the kind of, the mission that that company has, and the kind of people, the right fit for that company. Because at the end of the day, they don't want a situation whereby you come into the company and then the next thing is you start complaining, oh, I didn't know this job is like this. I didn't know this is like this. I didn't know this is like this. This work is, they want to use me and die. No, you have to understand that, okay, this is what the company is about. And do I really fit into this company? Because to be honest, it's not every role that you see that is meant for you. Let's be sincere with ourselves. I know that, some of us are the advocate of, you have seen it online, give it a shot. Yes, you can give it a shot, but of course, is that role really meant for you? Or do you really fit into that company? Is that the kind of company that you want to work in? Take your time to, first of all, do a little bit of research on the company, and Google and some of the search engines, they've become a wonderful platform for us to, search for, do research on some of these companies, right? So other platforms like Nairaland, just to mention one, and a few other ones, Indeed, some of these sites actually have, topics or subjects related to certain companies, or you meet people who have worked in that company or have, currently worked there, who can share experiences or tell you more about that company. So the first thing you want to do is take your time to find out what that company does, right? Not just the role, right? The role is there, but you should have it at the back of your mind that that role is fine-tuned to help that company grow, right? And that's the only reason why that company will employ you. It's not because you are the best programmer in the world. It's if you can fit into that company, within that particular space. So that's the first thing you want to do. So you can go on places like Naira, at least for Nigerian, some of our quite popular Nigerian companies. You can go on Ireland. You want to do research to find out, okay, this company, what is it about? What do they do? Is there anybody who can give me some insight into, what is really going on in that space? So if it's something, if you get this feedback and you analyze it and you're okay with it, that's the first stage, right? And then you're okay with what you're going into. Then the next stage is, how do you fit yourself into this role, right? Now, for this particular area, I would say, and you might beg to differ, but I would say that you necessarily do not need to have all the skills the company is looking for. As a matter of fact, many of these roles that we see online, technical ones, or even to a large extent, the non-technical ones, some of the people or half of the people who get these roles at times do not have all the skills that these companies are looking for. As a matter of fact, recruiters are not 100% looking for people who have all the skills, right? They're looking for people who can, adapt themselves, right, to the changes, to the rigors of that role, and even upskill themselves, in that process to be able to, at the end of the day, to achieve everything that that role requires, right? Because whatever it is that you already know, you still need to go through an onboarding process when you get to the company, right? You still need to go through that process. So the company doesn't expect that you will 100% know what this is about. So even if it's an application, for instance, let's say it's Excel and you are the #1 data analyst in the world, there's a way that that company actually uses Excel to analyze their data. And because you're not an employee, you will not know that, and you still need to be onboarded. You're very good with Excel. You know all the shortcuts. You know how to do the Power BI's visualizations and all of that, the macros and the rest of it. But then you will still need to be onboarded to understand how that company uses the application to sort their data or to do their presentations or to set up their dashboards, right? So that is still required. So the company does not need you to 100%, know everything. But can you adapt? Can you fine-tune yourself? Can you learn on the job? Right. So you want to take your CV, you want to sit down, look at your CV and, walk through it. And I will advise you, it might not be worth anything, but of course, I'll tell you for a fact that you should have more than 3 or 4 versions of your CV for different roles. As human beings, you are dynamic in nature. There is no one person in this world that fits into only one role alone. I mean, take for instance, footballers, right? And Bukola, thank you for insulting my team. Anyways, but look at footballers, right? The football system has changed. Before we used to have, let's say, rigid systems, 4-4-2, 3-4-3-3, and things like that for people who are very vast with football. But now, all of a sudden, things have changed. We're seeing 3-4-3, people playing with 4 strikers, people playing with 1 striker. A lot of things have changed. And even some of the players, some of these footballers who we know to be accustomed to a particular role are changing. Today, you see somebody who is a midfielder, he started up front as a striker, or he's played at the back as a center defender. And even sometimes in some very weird circumstances, let's say the goalkeeper is red carded and the team cannot make any more changes, a substitute goalkeeper cannot come in. One of the players, has to take over the gloves and protect the goalposts. It's not magic. It's not at that spot that that person decided to take up the role. They actually plan for those circumstances, right? So they try to fit themselves into that role to say, you know what if we find ourselves in this situation, we're down to 10 men, we can't bring on any substitutes. How do we, adapt ourselves, or how do we adjust? And that's what basically a lot of companies are looking for. They're looking for, potential candidates who can adapt to changes. Look at what happened with the pandemic. Nobody saw that coming. All of a sudden, everything changed and we had to adapt ourselves, right? So I'm still going to talk about adaptability and confidence later on, but talking about your CV, you want to actually fine tune your CV to match up with the requirements of that role or a part of it. So what skills are they looking for? What courses, what certificates? You might not have the certificate, but what you have, right? How does it relate to what they are looking for? And what you do in your current space, how does it relate to what you are, what they are looking for? You can relate it. What do you do in your company currently? Do you, maybe you're a manager, or you're an, let's just say you're an agent or an engineer, or let's say you're a floor support. Let's even put it that way, floor support, pyramid 1 person, right? But, you actually assist your manager in collating data for a presentation. You have, analytic skills that you use that to help your manager, or you use that to help your team to collect data. It's something you can mention, right? It's part of what you do. It might not be part of your current job description, but it's part of what you do. Let's say, for instance, you do, you're in charge of the companies or your team's, let's say, monthly magazine. They do this monthly meeting where they have to present the top performers at things like that. The company necessarily might not have somebody, or pay people to do that. Maybe they just picked some of the guys in the team, and you're one of them. You do this for them regularly. It's not bad to actually mention that in your CV. It's part of what you do, right? So it's not all about I have to do, or I have to be a 100% match for this. And so, this role, it looks too techy, I cannot fit in. I don't possess the skills. No, you can actually do that. But the other thing I want to also mention is, and which gets caught later on, is don't lie on your CV. You don't have to lie on your CV. Don't oversell yourself. But I'm still going to talk about that at the second stage. So the first stage is, the application, you looking at the company. Second thing is you preparing your CV to match up with what the company is looking for, fine-tuning your CV. If it's anything, of course, there are companies, there are people who offer CV writing services. Invest in yourself. I mean, you're trying to get a job that will pay you what, 100 plus, 200 plus, 300 plus, 500K, and you don't want to spend 5,000, 10,000 naira on writing your CV. I mean, come on. It's an investment in yourself. So so you should look for those people if you're not too articulate to put those keywords in your CV. So all you have to do is look for a CV company that you can give them a draft of your CV, and they could look through it. They'll ask you some questions on what you do. They'll help you put this up. You can tell them that you want several versions of your CV to suit certain roles, maybe marketing, maybe cloud computing, maybe, let's say technical roles, cloud computing, networking, databases, things like that, in those areas, so that they can fit it. You have those versions. So you see these job applications online, you have a particular version of your CV that matches with what they do, right? You save you buy yourself sometimes. So if it's an investment that is worth doing. If you're not doing it, or you haven't done it, I'll encourage you to do that. And you can go online, you can search for some of these companies, and of course, I can refer some of my friends to you. They're very good with these things, right? So the next thing you want to move into is, okay, so you will have to go through sometimes, or for some companies, you'll have to go through an assessment process, right? They've invited you for the interview, or they probably call you up to do like a first stage meet, right? Want to hear your voice, want to know what you do, if you like a first stage, like a first stage meet. So they call you, and maybe a session on Zoom, or a session on Teams, or even on WhatsApp. I've seen some of these interviews happen recently. So how do you articulate yourself? Are you prepared? Right. And one of the things I've seen that some companies do is they reach out to you, say, a day before. Right. Now, some of these things are done on purpose, right? It's all part of checking how adaptable are you, how dynamic are you to change, how do you switch. Yes, they can give you 1 week before to prepare yourself. It's expected that you have applied for the role, so you start preparing yourself, right? Whether they call you or not, at least get prepared, right? What are the things you want to talk about? What are the achievements that you've had? What are the accomplishments that you've had? What are the things you do in your company currently? What are you looking forward to doing? What are you bringing to the table? Those are the things that, you know, you want to talk about. And you also have to realize that, you know, for every company, there are different departments, there are different units, and they are responsible for different things. The recruitment team is responsible for sourcing candidates, right, that can, you know, fill in the roles. They might not know 100% what your role is about, right? So I'll give you an example. Where I work currently, I work as a team manager. I have a team of support engineers, right? The recruitment team in my company does not need to 100% know all the rigors of my job. Of course, they cannot know the rigors of that position as much as myself or my team does, right? It's until you actually meet with me, or, you know, somebody who is in line with what we do, or somebody that is in my team, that you'll be able to get a much bigger picture. The recruitment team will have a summary, like, you know, insight into what that role is about, so they can advise you. But of course, there's another stage where you'll meet with people who are actually, you know, in that position, to see if you actually fit in. So for the recruitment company, they're just looking for, you know, keywords, you know, how, you know, they might not be able to tell how good you are, but, you know, from the things that you share, your vocabulary, the skills that you have, the courses you've done, the certifications you've done, they can actually look at it and say, okay, I think this guy might be a good fit for the job, right? So you want to get yourself prepared for that stage. You want to list out the things that, you know, they want to hear, which is about selling yourself. You want to talk about your objectives, how you intend to grow into that position. You want to talk about what you do currently where you work, or if you're not even working, you know, what exactly are you doing currently to get yourself, you know, prepared for that particular role, right? So you're a fresh graduate out of, you know, university, you're trying to come into a technical role. Tech is very wide. Which area are you much interested in? Is that, you know, available in that company? Is that what that company is doing, right? Those things you want to check them, so that, you know, the recruitment team become interested, right? So you look at the second phase of some of, you know, many of these interviews. You may or may not have a second phase, but second phase of the interview usually entails meeting with key people that actually deal in that space, right? You know, like I've experienced many times, you go through the first phase where you talk to the recruitment team, and then you come to the second stage where I get to interface with the candidates, right? So what I'm looking for as a manager, I know what my team is about. And I'll give you an example. So the application that I actually work with here requires both financial accounting knowledge and cloud computing knowledge. It's a very weird skill. I mean, it's like looking for somebody who is very techie and at the same time as an icon, or is an or of course a chartered accountant. It's very weird to see that combination, right? Or somebody who has basic backgrounds in accounting. But you might not 100% get people like that. It's very rare, but you have people who are, you know, willing, or who can adapt to that space. You know, those are some of the things that we're looking for. You know, how adaptable are you, right? So those are some of the things that I am looking for. It's not just about, you know, your accomplishments now. I'm looking at you, how confident are you? And, you know, that takes me to my next stage where I talk about adaptability and confidence, right? So I have seen in many occasions where people just go and take courses online, especially for technical roles. Okay, so you see cybersecurity courses, you go and take it. You see support courses, you go and take it. You see networking, you take it. You see programming, you take it. Yes, it's good. Knowledge is good. But then try and put a direction to what you're trying to do, right? Try and put a direction to it. What are you most interested in? Tech is a very, very wide industry. And to be honest with you, there's no particular area in tech that you venture into that is not lucrative. It just depends on how far you're willing to go. I have a friend who is a technical writer, right? Did not study tech in school, just like somebody from the audience mentioned earlier, who has been in music production for a very long time. He did not study anything tech. I think, if I can remember correctly, I think he studied something around pharmacy or so, but today is a technical writer. Yeah, he did some courses. He decided to do some freelance projects, developed himself, and he started getting these mini jobs. Initially, it was getting paid, I think, $10 for every hour or thereabout. And then gradually has grown because he has improved his craft, right? So it's not about you doing just any course. You see a course online, okay, it's about tech, and then you just jump into it. First of all, do your research on different areas of technology. Which one are you most interested in? Right? When you make that decision, then you want to start looking at developing yourself. What courses can you take in that area that would help you, fit into some of these positions, right? And for some of us who are in the audience, some of us are support engineers, some of us are into application development, some people are into implementation and the rest of it, and some people are non-technical people, right? So this is for actually everybody, right? So whatever role you're looking to apply for, do a course that relates to that role, not just any course, right? And when you're, doing, setting up your CV, you want to talk about that course, whether completed or not, right? You want to talk about that course and how that course is helping you prepare for that particular role, or what you have done in that course that will help you fit into this role. And it's not just about doing the course, especially for people who are fresh graduates, right? Okay, so you studied computer engineering in school and you're looking for a tech job and you've gone online to do, I don't know, programming courses. Okay, you have done the programming course or you're still doing it. Then what are you doing with it? What projects have you done with it? I remember an interview that I had one time with a candidate, right? Had no job experience, but it's been into a fresh graduate. He went to application development, so he was learning about. He had to learn programming languages, a few of them, and he went into developing applications. As at the time of the interview, this guy had developed about 10 different mobile applications that have been published on different platforms. Right now, he had no job experience, but he used his time well to invest in himself and put some work out there. But we see people who just go and do courses with no particular plan to use the knowledge of that particular course. So you have gone into cybersecurity, you did a course, maybe cybersecurity fundamentals or cloud fundamentals, and what was your plan going, taking up that course? Did you look for, freelance jobs or projects that you can be engaged in to learn about, to learn more about that job, right? To learn more about that role, to fine tune your skills in that role. So as a tech person or as somebody, aspiring to come into tech, as much as you're interested, you should be able to do the dirty work, like I call it. Invest your time, do some freelance projects so that those things will give you real life experiences to prepare you for that particular role, for what that industry is about. Tech is very lucrative, but at the same time, it's very demanding, like many of you will agree with me. It's a very dynamic space and it will push you a lot, right? So you have to get yourself ready. You need to invest your time in it. Do some freelance work. Yes, you're not being paid for it, but the experience will count, right? I see a lot of candidates come into interviews, apart from the fact that maybe they've not even done a detailed research on the role. They've not done absolutely anything that will make you interested in them. And, some people will come to you with the Nigerian factor or, oh, the employment market or unemployment is high or I've not been able to. No, there are freelance projects. There are a lot of people online who are looking to take you on board to just be part of their team. Yes, they're not paying you any money, but they're giving you experience, right? But we're in Africa and we always, try to look for, money. It's not always about money. You need to take some time to invest in yourself. So take up those freelance roles. Those roles will help you prepare yourself for that particular, for the next role. And even within your company, let's say you're trying to move up the technical ladder, right? What you're doing currently should not limit you to looking at the next phase. What exactly is going on in that next phase? So I'll give you an instance. In my team, you start off as a technical engineer stage 2, right? And then the next ladder is to become a technical lead, right? So being a support engineer is different from being a technical lead. And if you're aspiring to move up to that ladder, of course, you'll be interviewed. So invest your time to know what it takes to be a technical lead. Your current technical lead, how close are you to him? How visible is what goes on in that space? How visible is it to you? You want to take your time to look into that role. And if you have to take certain things or do certain things, that will help you prepare for that role, because that's your growth path. No company will bring you on board if they don't see your growth path. We want to see how interested you are in this particular space and what you intend to do for yourself moving forward. Because no one will expect that you join the company and for the next 10 years, you're stuck on the same position. No, you will have to take on more responsibilities. So you want to take your time and invest in freelance courses. Look for projects. You've taken up networking. Look for freelance networking course projects or jobs. You take them up, you invest your time in it, and it will help you grow. So when you go for that interview, you can talk about that particular thing. You talk about that particular project. And a key thing is talking about what exactly you're responsible for, which is about the point that I mentioned earlier. There's no point lying on your CV, because as much as possible, even if you lie in a technical interview, there is 98% or 99% that you will be caught, right? I'll share an example with you briefly, because I know my time is wrapping up. So there was this candidate I interviewed, I think about 3 months ago. And so he came into the interview, he gave a very long introduction of himself about, different areas in tech that he has been into, database management, and he had to pick the banking industry and one of the banks that I've worked with before, right? So immediately said that, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And I'm trying to find out why this guy.
Hello.
Hello, I can't hear anything.
It's like we lost Mr. Shegun.
I think it is his network. So let me try to reach out to
All right.
him. Please give me a few seconds.
All right, that's
Yeah,
fine.
can anyone still hear me? My screen got frozen a bit.
Shagun, at a point
No, we couldn't hear you.
Okay, but can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear. Okay,
Yeah,
I
sure.
can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that. I think my internet got frozen a bit. Okay, so I was training an example about a candidate I interviewed a few months back. And so he came into the interview with his long introduction. Then he started talking about, applications that he has developed for banks. And, he talked about one of the banks that I've worked with before, that he developed some very key applications. When he started mentioning the names of those applications, I started wondering, like, okay, I know these applications, I've worked with them before, right? And I'm like, okay, so what is this guy doing applying for a support engineer role? I mean, okay, he might just be interested in, being a support engineer. It's fine. People do that. But I mean, this is weird. Right. So when I started questioning him, okay, what is this application about? What were you responsible for in the development of this application? Then he started fidgeting, right? And then I started, I continued with more key questions. And then at the end of the day, it came out to say, okay, and so the thing is, it's my friend that actually works, that develops those applications. I just work with him. I said, okay, so your friend is actually the developer. What do you do for your friend? Because I'm guessing that your friend is maybe a one-man business or something, or is part of a team. But what do you do? He said that he helps him to develop some things. I said, okay, what do you develop? And then at the end of the day, it just came out like, okay. So the thing is that, and he knows this person, that, is into all of this. And I mean, it even turned out that that person just gave him some insight into what goes on there. And that person doesn't really, really work or develop applications. So you don't want to lie to try and get a job. You would always be, caught at some point, especially when it's technical, because you could be given any form of test to prove your worth, right? And that would just blow your chance. So rather than lie, why don't you take up a course and take up?
I sent you a DM. I hope you saw it. You have less
Yes.
than what I sent you. Thank you.
Yes. So you want to take up those freelance projects. You want to invest your time in it. You want to use that to build yourself and invest. You might not land the first job, you might not land the second one, but the more time you spend in developing yourself in that area, the better for you, right? The better for you, especially for new people in tech, and even for those who are already in tech and looking to move up to space. For many of us, we're quite familiar with areas in technology that, like I said, every area is lucrative, but Nigeria is becoming a really growing space for technology, and a lot of companies are coming into Nigeria to invest and to develop. And it's a good opportunity for us, each and every one of us, whether you have aspirations to travel abroad or the rest, or not, take up these roles, take up these freelance projects to prepare you for these roles. And even when you travel abroad, or if you get a virtual, let's say a remote job rather, they want to also see how invested you are in that role, or how interested you are, if I'll put it that way, in that role. What have you done in the short space of time? Whether your role applies, your current role fits into that role or not. How prepared are you to get into that space, right? So these are some of the tips that I actually wanted to share with us today. I know that time will not permit me to share a lot more, but I think in the question and answer segment, we're going to come up with more questions, and I'll be able to make further clarifications on this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right. I hope everybody enjoyed the session. Something from this session. Did you learn something? Please drop it in the chat if you learned something. Let's do that for the 1 minute.
There's a glitch in your voice. We couldn't hear you clearly.
Can you hear me now?
The network is working.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Okay, good now.
Clearly.
It's better now. It's clear.
Okay, so the video is off now. All right. I said I hope you learned something from his session. And if yes, and which must be yes, please drop it in the chat. We'll do that for the next 2 minutes. What did you learn from his session? It's not okay. Yes, insightful session. I understand. In church, then when someone drops something, our pastor is preaching. He went for a motivational event. I said, insight powerful. What is that thing that is insight and powerful? So please drop it in the chat. What did you learn from his session? What did you learn from the session? Thank you. Timothy, be real with your CV. Yes, have focus. Thank you. Yes, I'm waiting for more people. Yes. Let's, so that we can move to the next guest speaker. The next guest speaker is here with us. So it's not something that we have to wait for him to join. Okay, yes. Michael said it is needless to lie in order to secure a job. I have to frame that part. I have to frame that and put it in my room. You understand? I'm seeing more comments are coming in. Thank you. Have different versions of your CV. Okay, good. What not too overhype you. I Adiola said different versions of CV. Can pick a career path and develop yourself along that path. And Ibrahim said, have a niche rather, in the tech space. New user, okay, new user, please be dynamic. New user, you can unmute or rename, let's say. So quickly, and let's move to the next speaker because of time. And our next speaker, drum roll, that's how we do in Toastmasters. All right, our next guest speaker, as you already would know, is Emmanuel Samuel. Fantastic. Emmanuel, God is with us. Samuel, a prophet. Only the anointing is plenty. Samuel is an HR professional who has significantly contributed to several organizations by providing value across various aspects of the HR value chain. Various aspects of HR. He has a knack for talent acquisition and positive employee experience. Fantastic. Stay updated with HR and career friends. He's passionate about helping jobs find fantabulous. Remember the last part, passionate about helping job seekers find jobs. So after the session, do you remember that song? I will never let you, unless you bless. Really? You should all know very well. Hopefully, you're looking for a job. You might get it. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Let's welcome Emmanuel our usual way. Please drop it in the chat or put your mic and say welcome, Emmanuel. Thanks for coming.
Welcome, Emmanuel. Thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Good morning from Lagos, Nigeria. Let me just do a sound check. Please, can you all hear me loud and clear? Let me get feedback, please.
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome, great. So I want to say a big thank you to Bukola and every single member of the team for putting this up. And I also want to say a big thank you for having me on here. I don't take it for granted. Also, I want to say thank you to every single person that is on this call. Thank you for honoring the invitation. Thank you for being here, despite the fact that you could probably be resting, be Netflixing and chilling and all of that. But then you're still here to develop yourself and all of that. So it's great to have every single person on board. Thank you so much for having me on board as well. And Mr. Shego, that was a very, very insightful session. Thank you so much. I loved how that you touched on, it's my pleasure, you're welcome. I loved how that you touched on people that haven't maybe started a career in tech and all of that, and how that they can take freelancing, how they can volunteer and all of that. So those are very, very important points. And the other things you mentioned about not lying in interviews, on the CV and all of that. Thank you so much for that. So let me just go straight into it. Man, that end that is sound. I think it's going to end up in my pot of soup.
Preparing for Christmas.
Preparing for Christmas. That's nice. So please let's all mute ourselves if we are not speaking at the moment, so we don't get too much background noise and all of that. Yeah. So I love my sessions being interactive. This is like, most times this is like my introductory statement anytime I have the opportunity to speak, because that's what really makes me vibe the more. And I also get to learn things from participants, right? So this is like me facilitating learning. So I'm not really like teaching, like pouring knowledge and all of that. So I would love to get feedback from you guys. When I ask questions, when I request for feedback, please do well to unmute if you can speak where you are, or drop in the chat box if you would prefer using that option. So straight into what we want to discuss. What do tech recruiters look out for in potential employees, in candidates? What are those things that they are looking out for? Within the 2 minutes, they are screening your CV. Within the 2 minutes, they're screening your LinkedIn profile, your Stack Overflow profile, your GitHub profile, your Facebook profile, your Twitter profile. What is your website? What is that? What are those things that you're looking out for? That is what we want to learn about. That's what we want to discuss about. So it's not news that we're in a very competitive world. The world we're in from the womb. In fact, even before the womb itself, they said about 1 million sperms. Over 1 million sperms are released during ejaculation, and it's just one that fertilizes the egg. Just one. So first, you're having a special person. For you to be alive, is you have succeeded the first competition that everyone has to go through. So life is competitive. When you want to, it's as small as when you want to buy things in the grocery store, for instance, or in the market, or even in a kiosk. Maybe you want to even buy just egg. Some of us will say, no, I want that other egg, that big egg. What of the other ones that are small? What should they be doing? Should they just be looking there and sitting down on sold? So it's just how life is. It's competitive, right? Talk about marriage as well. There is a bit of competition. You as a lady, you don't just go for every kind of man. You as a man, you don't just go for every kind of lady, right? So let me throw this question out. I'll take two people, a guy and a girl, and I would love you if you can unmute and speak. So as a guy, let's start with guys. As a guy, what are those things you are looking out for in a lady? Before we now talk about what recruiters will look out for in you as a candidate. So if you want a potential wife for you, what are those things that you are looking out for? What are those features? Anybody can go ahead. Just unmute and speak.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, question was what guys look for in a lady, or what I am looking for in a
You.
lady.
Ayomide, if that's your first name. What are you looking for in a lady? Don't take all of us together. We can't be looking for the same place.
Okay. Oh, voila. Anyway, looks is one of the ones I look for. Like, I must have a good looking face. I like sometimes.
You look for looks. You look for
yes,
looks.
Yes, comment is maybe superficial,
That's
but I like it.
I love that.
Yes. Conversation, the ability to hold the conversation is also key. I don't want a case when I'm talking to you and at the end of the sentence, you just blank, nothing. So that was also key. Like, she must be smart. I like a lady I can learn from. Like someone that when you hear her, you are always challenging yourself to learn more. That is, and in a way, discipline too. Because I need discipline in my life.
Yeah, important points. You are not looking for somebody who has money, like a billionaire's daughter or a billionaire herself.
No, if a lady who is smart already will always have the potential to make money. So I don't really think
I feel you. Thank you so much, Ayomide. Very important points. I love that. So over to a lady now. What are those things you are looking out for, like in a potential husband? Anybody? Ellen, Adeola, Amarachi. Anybody? Rachel, if you are not married.
I'm already married.
Okay.
So that doesn't apply to me.
Okay, what are those things that you saw in your husband that make you say, yes?
Yes, okay. I think one of those things was that he was interested in my career as a person. He was kind of like my fan. So anytime I write an exam or certification and I pass, it's like he's the one that passed. So I think that gives me so kind of like, then I think it's more of a peace of mind I had with him during courtship. I found that peace. I wasn't really looking for money. Because there were other people that they were more financially buoyant. I just wanted that peace of mind, somebody that I could relate to. I wasn't scared opening up or saying anything to, and the person will not judge me. I think that's what I was focused on. I was against the regular, he must have a house, he must have a car, he must be working in XYZ. I knew that I had all those things by the grace of God. So I was looking for someone that was kind of like deeper than that. And someone that loves God, most importantly. So I guess that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Ellen. Very, very important points both of you mentioned, both Ellen and Ayeni. So just like we look out for things in whatever transaction in quotes or relationship that we want to have in life, that's how recruiters also look out for qualities in prospective employees. So we don't just accept people into the company, because there are tons and tons of applications we get per role, right? Except for a few roles that are just the exception, but the average role gets tons and tons of applications, right? So I worked with a team that managed a graduate trainee at some point in my career, and then we got for about a few hundred roles that we wanted to fill. I think about maybe 150 thereabout that we wanted to fill. We got over 1,000 people. No, 1,000 is small. I think it's over 3,000. Yes, over 3,000. It's not 1,000. 1,000 for where? No, we had over 3,000 people that applied, right? And we just wanted to fill. We just needed about 150 graduate trainees, right? So this shows how competitive the job market is. This shows how, and in Nigeria, that we are having an unemployment rate that is as high as over 40%, right? Statistically, might not even be the real thing, might not be realistically, right? So this shows how competitive the job market is. And I'm not saying this to scare you, this is just the reality. So the question now is, what are those things that I need to know that is going to stand me out, right? How do I position myself as a lady that Ayomide would be able to get me and marry me? How would I position myself as a guy that Cynthia, for instance, would be able to say yes to me, right? So these are the things. So if you want to know that, you have to know what the person wants, right? And that is what is going to inform, these are the kind of things I should learn. Maybe there are skills you need to learn. Maybe there are interests that the person likes, that would love you to like, that you need to learn and all of that. So that is what we want to learn about. What are those things that recruiters are looking out for that will make me a yes to them? So I divided it into two different aspects that I'm going to be running through them within a few minutes because we don't have too much time. So I divided them into the technical competences and the behavioral competences. So we have the technical competences and we have the behavioral competences. So I'll just take 3 or 4 points on each of them and then we'll call it a time. So the first, in really no order of preference, right? But then I think this first one is very, very important. The first technical competence that recruiters would most likely look for across your CV, your LinkedIn profile, your GitHub profile, your Stack Overflow profile, and all of that, and your applications, maybe your cover letter and all of that. One of the first technical competencies that they want to look out for is the software that you've used, or if you are talking about a tech person that codes, the kind of stack that you have used or that you use, the kind of programming languages that you use, the kind of frameworks that you have worked on, that you have worked with rather, or that you currently work with. That's like one of the basic things that you want to look at. So in fact, it will even be in the job ad most times that, we're looking for someone we're looking for a backend engineer who is proficient with Java. So for instance, where I currently work, we don't use Python, we use Java for backend guys. Our backend guys use Java. So if you are someone who has been doing Python all your life and you've never used Java, chances are very, very, very low that you even be selected for a conversation, for an interview conversation. right? So look out for those things. So if, for instance, you're applying for a front-end role, what are the kind of programming languages that the company specifies? Or maybe you ask, if they didn't specify in their job ad, which they should, there are some people that work there, what are the kind of programming languages you use? Is it JavaScript? Is it CSS? Is it HTML? Make your research. And this would also be helpful if, for instance, you have certain companies that you are looking out for. So, for instance, you want to work for the Paystacks of this world. You want to work for the Careerwises of this world. You want to work for the Googles of this world, the Microsofts, the Flutterwaves, the Teslas, and all of that. You have to find out these things ahead of time if you are really, really interested in working, because it's hard for them to bend on things like the kind of programming languages. Programming languages are not they are not just like maybe your general software that people can. So for instance, like an accountant that is good using Sage, for instance, can easily adapt to maybe QuickBooks. For instance, if maybe he or she had been using Sage all their lives, and then the new environment has to use QuickBooks, or maybe you're an HR person, you've been using Greenboard, for instance, for your recruitment and all of that, and then the new organization is using maybe Zo Recruit, for instance, you can easily just adapt. But then when it comes to programming languages, when it comes to frameworks in software engineering for tech guys, I mean both genders, for tech folks, let me use that phrase, for tech folks, it's very, very hard for an organization to take in someone who is using a different, for instance, programming language or framework compared to what they use in the organization. So if you have a highs for starting organization already that, in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, I would like to work in this company, those are the kind of research that you should make ahead of time. Those are the kind of competencies you should build ahead of time. And if you're now, so in the case of tech roles that don't have to do with coding and all of that. So for instance, you are applying for a UI UX design role, and you're able to use, for instance, Adobe very well. You are very, very good with Adobe XD, very, very well. And based on maybe the few information you've had, that Figma is not really hard to use based on your knowledge of Adobe XD. You don't need to shoot yourself on the foot that, since Emmanuel Samuel has already said that, tech guys, if you are not proficient with the particular framework or tech stack, for instance, you shouldn't bother and all of that. And that's not what I'm saying. That's just for things that are really, really core, like programming languages. If you're talking about software, for instance, like UI UX design software that I've mentioned, those ones you can still easily bend those ones, right? You can still say yourself that, wow, I'm very good with, for instance, Figma. I don't think Sketch will be hard for me to work with as a UI UX designer, right? So that's just a bit of dynamics around that line. And because we might have people that are non-tech folks here, this also applies to you as well. So for instance, you're interested in a company that uses, let me see, so you're a data analyst, you're interested in the company, find out the software that they use. They might use Power BI, some might be using just your Excel and all of that. Find out if it's a company that you want to work with 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, find out what they use in advance and learn it. But then if it's an opportunity that comes on the spot, let them know that, I'm very proficient with this particular software and I can easily adapt. Like I think Shag mentioned it, adaptability. I can easily adapt to a different one. So that's the first thing. Technical competence, the first number one technical competence that a recruiter would most likely look for first is the tech stack for tech code writers or software, right? That's one. 2 is business or product knowledge. Business or product knowledge. You can't effectively develop a software, right, without having a correct knowledge of what it's meant to achieve. Maybe it's a mobile app, maybe it's a web app. You can't develop the product effectively, whether you are doing backend, whether it's just backend you are doing, or you are just the QA guy making tests on the codes and all that. You can't effectively do those things without knowing what actually the product is meant to achieve. So that is where product knowledge comes in. So I want to know, for instance, you want to be like a product manager, for instance, for YouTube. Do you know how YouTube works? Right? You want to work with Google as a product manager for YouTube. Do you know how YouTube works? Do you know the different features? Do you know the different aspects of it? Right? So that's product knowledge. Even as someone who will write the code, you need to have an understanding of what the user requirement is. For instance, if you are developing the product from scratch, what's the user requirements? Like, you need to, all those things, you have to understand them to be able to effectively build whatever product you want to build. So understand. So if I'm interviewing you as a recruiter, so for instance, I had interviewed with a company before. It's a tech company for an HR role. Let me bust your bubble. It was an HR role, but then they asked me to describe their products, their two major products. So I had to use this myself. I had to meet tech guys that I know to just at least explain one or two things for me about the products. So I understood it. Although I was coming for it, I wasn't building anything. I wasn't doing anything with regards to the product. Up to date, I've not done anything with regards to it. I'm just managing people, right? But then part of the recruitment process was for me to understand the product. And this is one of the things that I actually would do normally, right? But then I'm still busting your bubble that the company themselves, right? They said I should talk about the features of the product, suggest ways to improve the product. I wasn't going to do anything on product. I was HR. So if me as HR would be doing something like that, imagine you as a product developer, as a website developer, as a app developer, and all of that. So those are kind of things that you should know what the products that the company offers are about. Know what the business of the company is, the real business of the business. What makes them money? What are the services that they render? What are the products that they have? How do these things make them money? Know these things. Those are kind of questions that you would likely be asked. And even if you are not asked, those are kind of things that you should mention during your interview. Let them know that you actually understand what they do. You actually understand your role. You have contributions you want to make to the company, for instance. So let me throw like a quick question so I can get some feedback. So let's take, for instance, a company like Amazon. Let's take, for instance, a company like Amazon. Okay, let me not go too far. Let me take, for instance, a company like Jumia. If you're asked what's the business of Jumia, what does Jumia do? If you're asked during an interview, you're interviewing for instance, a technical writer role at Jumia, or maybe a backend engineer role at Jumia, and then you're asked, what do we do? What do you understand about our business? What's our business model? What are we doing? How do we generate revenue in Jumia? What can anybody help with that? Anybody at all? You can unmute and speak. Okay, I think I'm seeing some chats. Let me check. Okay, not okay. So you can unmute and speak. I think somebody's attempting to do that.
Please, let's talk now. Let's answer the question. This is not a formal interview whereby.
This is not interview. Don't be afraid, though. This is not interview. It's just a
It's
class.
not an interview. Emmanuel will decide whether or not you want to say that.
Hello.
So please.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
All
hear
right.
you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, Jumia is an e-commerce platform. So, they deal with selling products digitally. So that's as much as I know about Jumia.
Awesome. So it's a platform, right? So thank you so much, Oluwasegun, by the way, for that. So you've answered it. At least you've given primary information about how Jumia operates. So they're essentially an e-commerce platform. So they might not necessarily be, in fact, they're not necessarily the vendors that sell things on their platform. They have tons and tons of vendors that partner with them. So they're just providing a platform for vendors to put their wares on their site, display their wares, their products on their site, and then they get commissions and all of that for. So it's just like what your supermarket does, for instance. So ShopRite, for instance, will not basically have like their own items that they sell, for instance. So they just provide like a platform, a physical platform, right? So for people that have their own different stores, their different products to sell using their platform. So that's basically what a site like Jumia does. But then they get commissions based on the sales and all of that from the vendors that actually sell things on their platform. So if you are going for an interview with Jumia, for instance, these are the kind of basic information, knowledge that you should have. How do they make their money? What do they do? What's their business model like? What are their vendors? What are the examples of vendors that they have? What are the customers? What are the examples of customers that they have? How does your role contribute to what they do? So this is the kind of thing. So for instance, you're a UI UX designer. Your role helps vendors to find the user interface aesthetically appealing. You want to help them to help the user experience on their websites, on their platforms, on their apps. You want to make the user experience more pleasurable for users, for customers, for vendors, for people that actually buy, and for vendors that have their stuff on the platform. So know how your role actually contributes to the business of the business. So I've talked about the first thing I mentioned is software. Under technical competency that recruiters look out for, software that you have used or that you can use, or the tech stack when you're talking about people that actually code, the programming languages, the frameworks that you have used or that you can use. So those are the kind of things that they look out for. Number one. The second I just finished talking about is your business/product knowledge. Do you know the business of the business? Do you know the in and out of the product that the business offers, the apps that they offer, the website platform that they offer? Do you know if it's like a company that builds APIs and all of that, like where I work? Do you know how their APIs work? Do you know how consumers, maybe B2, of course it should be a B2B framework. How do the business consumers, how do they make use of the APIs and all of that? So have knowledge of those things. That's number two. The third technical competence that a recruiter will most likely look out for is from a tech talent is an online portfolio. We need a break. Chinelo, please, can you help us mute? Thank you so much. No issues. It happens. Yes. So I was talking about the third point, your online portfolio. As a tech person, it is very, very important that you have an online portfolio, right? So some people use their social media platforms as their portfolio. While this is okay, right? But then it's not really optimal, right? So for instance, you have like a bit of your projects and all of that you've done on probably your GitHub profile, your Stack Overflow profile, or maybe you have like you describe a few things on your LinkedIn profile. Maybe you put some link and all of that to show what you've done before, the projects you've worked on, the projects you're currently working on, and all of that. That can work, but then you'll look more professional. One, you'll be able to do more stuff when you have your own personal websites. And I'm not talking about anything again for as a point. I'm not talking about that. It doesn't have to be all super. Something as simple as so for instance, this morning, how should I mention this? Hey, Jesus. Okay, let me just mention it. There's a reason I don't want to mention it. So for instance, somebody sent me our portfolio. She's into UI UX. design. So she sent me a portfolio recently, and it was like a site, it was a personal site, right? And it was so easy. She was able to put as much information as she wanted to do. She was able to design. It's not as though there was a template she had to follow. She was able to design it the way she wanted and all of that. So as a tech person, right, it's good when you have an online portfolio that a recruiter can look out, can check. The technical recruiter, a hiring manager can check out your projects, things you worked on, things you're currently working on, and all of that. It's good you have things like that. So it's not as though you are just speaking and talking about things that maybe you hadn't done and all of that, but then you are showing that this is actually the kind of value that you'll be getting for your money if you have me on board. So it's good. People believe more when they see more than what I think they say a picture is more than 1,000 words or something like that. I think there's a wise saying like that. So people find when they can actually see things more appealing, you are able to sell yourself when you have an online platform. Let me just do like a pause and a quick check here before I go to the next rounds of things I want to talk about. Please, have we been getting any feedback? Please, have you been learning so far? Have you been getting value so far? Please let me hear you. You can unmute and speak. You can drop in the chat section.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Good to know. Thank you so much. Awesome. So let me talk about the last technical competency for this session. This is not exhaustive, right? But it's just a few things that I felt we should just talk about. The last one is your level of interest in the career path. So for instance, you are applying for a cloud engineer role, for instance. Are you really interested in it? Or a DevOps role? Are you really interested in it? Is it that you are just doing it for the time being, but then your eyes is in product management? Although it's very unlikely that someone in DevOps will go to product management, but then anything can happen. So, or is it that you are just in product management currently, but then your eyes already are looking at UI UX design or UI UX development itself, right? So these are the kind of things that I want to know as a technical recruiter. These are kind of things that an hiring manager will want to know. If this person this person will not after 3 months say, I'm leaving because I'm tired of doing backend. I want to go into something. If I want to go into technical, right? I even want to go into front end from back end. So these are the kind of things that they look out for, right? So don't give off that vibe that you are not really interested, at least in the middle or long term, in the career path that you're interviewing for, right? So don't give off that vibe. So that, because you might not say it completely categorically, but then they can pick it from your gestures, they can pick it from 1 or 2 comments that you make, 1 or 2 remarks that you make during probably the interview process and all of that. And also from your resume as well, from your CV as well. So I kind of things they can pick you. They see that you did DevOps, you did QA, you did front end, you did back end. It's good, right, that you're learning from different angles, but then they want to see depth, number 1. 2, they want to see that this person will actually stay in this particular role at least for a considerable number of months, or even, if possible, years, right? Because the fact is, tech folks are really, there's a particular word that came to my mind, but I wouldn't choose that word, but they love challenges. Let me put it that way. They want to do new things. They want to do new projects. Sometimes they want to try on a different big programming language. They want to try on a different aspect of software development. So they already, so recruiters already know this. They want to watch out for it. That this person they want to hire for backend. Hope after 2 or 3 months, this person is not going to come and say, I want to leave your company because I want to do a different aspect of software engineering. Sorry for the background noise. There is some work that has been done.
Hi, Emmanuel. Did you see the Zoom DM I sent to you?
Okay, I'll check it. I'll check it out.
All right.
Thank you so much. So that's all about, not really all, but that's a few things about the technical competencies that the recruiter will likely look out for. So the next is behavioral competencies. What are those behavioral competencies that a recruiter will look out for in a potential employee, in a candidate? Maybe on checking their CV, or maybe this mostly has to do with interaction. So maybe during the interview, this has to do mostly with the interview, when the interview is actually happening. So the first, which I think is like the most important, my opinion, the most important behavioral competency that a recruiter will be looking out for is whether the candidate is a culture fit or not. Whether the candidate is a culture fit or not, right? And in fact, there's another level. It goes a notch higher. So I saw online on LinkedIn some weeks back that more than looking for people that are culture fit, that or I think I saw that we should not look for. I think they posted one of these motivational things that people used to say that they really don't think about very well. They said don't look for culture fit, look for culture shaper, something like that. And I'm like, while that is good, yes, you look for somebody who would bring new things into your organization and all that, but then there are currently some values that the organization lives and breathes by that the prospective employee should have. You're not just looking for people that will bring new good things. You're also looking for people that have those. For instance, one of your core values is respect, having respect towards one another, or integrity, for instance, right? You are looking for somebody who already embodies that. Yes, he or she might bring new things. Yeah, we are welcome, but then at least you have the ones that how are we sure that you will bring new things if we are not, at least we can't be a few percentage sure that you currently have those values that we have as our culture pillars in our organization. So those are the kind of things that recruiters look out for. Is this person a culture fit? And how can you know that you're a culture fit? How can you communicate that you're a culture fit? The first thing is to find out what the values of the organization, the core values, what they are. So for instance, you are applying to a Microsoft, you're applying to a tech expert, for instance, you're applying to an Andela, for instance, you're applying to an MTN, for instance. What are the core values of MTN? What are the core values of Airtel? What are the core values of tech expert? What are the core values of Andela? Learn those things. So those, and I'm not saying that we should just start making up stories and all of that, but then if you truly be a culture fit, there should be at least 80% alignment of your personality, of your character with the core values. And so if you have identified that, oh, they are looking for someone who is collaborative, that's one of their core values. I'm actually collaborative. If you know that you actually embody that, you can talk about those things in your interview. And you don't necessarily have to just mention that, oh, I'm a collaborative person. I know that sounds so cliche, and they might even know that I'm just trying to just bobo them and all of that. You can make
Hi, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, can you hear me? Can you still hear him?
You manage to work in people and all of that, touch on these things, right? So that's one of the first basic things that a recruiter will look out for when you're interviewing for a role, whether you're a culture fit or not. That's one. Two, people skills. They will watch out for your people skills. They will not, a smart interviewer will not ask you that, do you have emotional intelligence? A smart recruiter will not ask you that, do you work well with people? They won't really just ask you directly like that. They'll just ask you maybe scenario-based questions, and they will check out for those things. So that's why you have to, like I mentioned earlier, you have to watch out for those things while you are making your points. You have to watch out for them, highlight them. Not like I've mentioned, you don't have to say, I work well with people, blah, blah, blah. No, just give scenarios, just mention remarks, talk about remarks that would actually show that, no, this person has emotional intelligence and all of that. So that's two. Because I'm short on time, let me just if we talk about the last 2 points, attitude to work. Attitude to work. Very, 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 very important. How committed are you to work? Are you really productive? How do you prioritize tasks? How do you prioritize tasks? So these are kind of questions that you would most likely get. Maybe they don't ask you, they will likely not ask you directly like that. Then they might just ask you questions like, who your line manager is giving you like 2 tasks to revert back to her within like a week, but then the head of your department, who is even higher in rank than your line manager, now gives you another task that you should revert to her within maybe 48 hours. How do you manage those kind of situations? Those are the kind of questions that they will ask you. So they want to learn about your attitude to work, how you manage tasks, how you manage people. And finally, this is not like a competence, right? But then what a recruiter will also be looking out for is your salary. That's one of the things that I'm looking at for tech folks that can ask for the whole world, right? Because they know that their skills are in high demand in the market, right? So they want to look out for your salary benchmark, right? What are you willing to take, right? If you are giving the role and all of that. So that's definitely one of the questions that you'll be asked, because that's one of the criteria that is going to inform the decision on who eventually gets hired, right? So let me just drop this question as I round up this session. So if you are asked, what is your salary expectation during an interview? How would you respond? Anybody? How would you respond? How would you respond?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. I will say that I believe there is a salary structure that the company gives to their staff, and I only wish that they should pay me according to that structure on the particular role that I'm being offered. So that will not be as if one is asking for too much or too less.
Okay, great. So most times, so I've been at the other. Yes, I'm an HR professional, but then a number of times I've been at the other end of the table as a candidate. Most times when you say things like that, they will tell you that no, we want you to give a particular figure. We want you to speak, express yourself. So if they ask you something like that, we are not really pleased with that response. We need something more. What are you going to say?
Well, I think what I would say will be that I would have made a research about the range of values of salaries that people that are working in other places in similar roles that I'm applying for. I would have known that. Then I think that's what I'm going to present. If I must present, I'm not going to do what the other man that just answered said. So that's what I was.
Awesome, great. So both of you have spoken well. So you can tell them that, oh, I would love you to at least let me know what the offer is. What's your salary bench for that role and all of that according to your compensation structure. Yes, you can make them know that. If you are lucky, they will say yes, but most times they will still go ahead to say, because many companies have salary structure and all of that. So compensation structure they don't have. So they will still ask you, they'll still go ahead to ask you. So like what the last speaker, I'm so sorry I didn't get your name, but both of you spoke very well. You should have made your research beforehand. You can check job adverts that put salaries. What are the common salary range that you're finding? Or check on reviews, like Glassdoor reviews, for instance. What's the pay scale review, for instance? What's like the average salary for this role, for this industry, and also the industry specific as well, right? So look for what's the average. If you're lucky to have someone who works there, make your finding from that person as well. And I also advise that people speak in terms of range. It's not advisable to just give like a particular figure so that you don't box yourself in, right? So speak in terms of range. So let the lowest range be like the least amount that you can collect. So for instance, you are picking for a range of 4 million per month to like 6 million per month. So like let that 4 million be like the least that you want to collect, or over that 4 million is not too much that I mentioned. Some people are afraid. So let that be like the least that you can take. So let that be at the lower end of the range. While the unbelievable amount that while if I get this amount, I can even, I can host free food for the whole community. Let that be like what is going to be at the other end of the range. So I will be stopping the conversation from my end at this point. Over to you, Bukola. Thank you.
Good. In those days, people would say powerful, no debt, insight. May God forgive us. I don't know if any of us attend those motivational conferences then. I think I did a lot of them then. So and you hear things, and next thing the person will say, right on, Pastor. Insight, powerful. I don't know someone has same experience. Really, I did. When those things really hit you very deep, there you know that it is time well spent. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I know if we are to pay you for this, maybe you will give us a range of, let's say, $5,000 to $10,000 per hour.
No. It's not that expensive. Just about $100,000 per hour.
See, and small girl like me, I can't afford.
Hey, some people are already ambushing me. Sorry, I was
not expensive.
It's not expensive. Oh, you see, that's someone supporting me.
All right, thank you very much, Emmanuel. I haven't seen any question in the chat. Is there anyone that have questions?
Thank you very
Please
much,
raise your
Emmanuel.
hand. Please raise your hand if you have questions. I mean, raise your hands virtually. All right. Okay. Yes, only Rachel. I can see Rachel. Only Rachel. And before we continue, I dropped in the WhatsApp, in the chat for Zoom, the links, the LinkedIn links to the guest speakers profiles and all that. Please connect to them, continue the conversation with them via DM. I do that a lot. And one of the sessions I think I do that a lot for 10 sessions like this. And most of the time, I'll just buzz them immediately while they're still talking. I've gone to LinkedIn. In fact, before they even posted the link, me by myself, I've gone there. By the time I go to LinkedIn, I check them out. Oh, I check the person's profile and everything. I feel connected to them. I send them connection requests. And sometimes they accept almost immediately. And for big men like Emmanuel that use email, you have to put in their email address before you can even connect to them. I do that, and I can't count how many people that I've connected with. I mean the who of who, the who is who, and the who of who's and all that. So that's just that. Don't dull yourself, please. Chat to them, connect to them on LinkedIn. Oh, Rachel said connection sent. Fantastic. You are smart. I like that, Jerry. No, ladies, they carry last. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people that raised their hand. It means that we are only taking these 4 people. All right. So Rachel, you have just 30 seconds to ask your questions. Don't, how will I say it? I'm looking for a nice way to say it. Just go straight to the point, Rachel. Go straight to the point, your question. And please, to the speakers, you have just 1 minute to answer their question. I beg, so we can move on. All right. So Rachel, you can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Bukola. So thank you, Emmanuel, for accepting my connection immediately. Thank you so much. My question is about the salary negotiation. Now, someone said, I met an HR, 2 weeks back, that said you have to be specific on the amount. After doing the research, just be specific on the exact amount you want them to pay. Okay, what if in a situation, so my question is this, what if in a situation they have a budget of 200,000 for that role, and you go there to mention 120, or 150, what would happen in that? Or what is generally the accepted, or I don't know, is there, okay, my question is, an accepted rule for salary negotiation? I just want to get it clear. Thank you.
Hello?
Did you
Hello,
hear
can
me?
you hear me?
Oh, so
Yes,
sorry,
I heard you. I don't know if
I can't hear
Emmanuel.
you.
I was muted. I was speaking. I didn't know I was muted. Thank you so much. So so I heard two questions. So I would try to respond within the shortest possible time. So first, if you had presented like a range, and then they asked you like a specific figure. So what you can do in that scenario is to just find the average of your range. So for instance, 200 to 400, the average would be 300K. So you can go for that average. That's one. Two, is there like a specific rule for salary negotiation and all of that? So there are no specific rules. There are no cast in stone rules. There are just one or two things that you can watch out for, which I'd mentioned some of them. But then I think when you are now in a situation where probably you are settled for less, and then you now discover that this role actually could have paid higher and all of that, that's something that you can always negotiate even on the job. So for instance, normally organizations should do their performance appraisals although the practice differs, but at least in a year you should have at least one performance appraisal. So you can wait for that window and make your case, especially when you are someone who is a high flyer, right? You're a high performer. Make your case that, I've been doing well. You don't even necessarily have to say that you actually saw that the role actually pays higher than you settled for, blah, 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 because it will look as if that's what you are making your case on. So it's better you make value.
This one is what recruiters look for in potential employees.
Hello, I was getting some side comments.
All right. Thank you very much, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I want us to really maximize the time. It's already past 12, and
Okay,
I
awesome.
like it when we keep to time. So, for some of us that do not know me, because I see nobody send me message. Just kidding. So I'm the group lead for the Emeral Digital Tech Community Group. And for some of my buddies that are here, I hope you are seeing my reface now. So quickly, we have another person. Like I said, let's please ask our questions in 30 seconds. I beg, ask the questions in 30 seconds, and please, Emmanuel and Shegun, answer it in 1 minute or less, please. All right. Okay, Suru, you have a question, and I can direct your question to either Shegun or Emmanuel. All right.
Okay. All right. So I'll be quick. I know I was talking about it before in the beginning. I said there are some interviews that when they are done, when they want to test you, they give you a test like an actual online test. The last one I just went for now was for a front-end engineer. And when I saw it, I was required to answer an exam-based interview that had a 24-hour range to solve it. So in that particular case, for some of us that are not really proficient, how do we go about it? Because it's not all tech interviews that may actually come as questions, like job interviews. Some of them, they actually want to see what we can do. That one was for an intern, not an actual developer.
Okay, thank you. Shegun, can you take this, please?
Okay, so I'll just quickly share what I understand by what you said. So the firm has actually given you a question to go and work on and present after 24 hours. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, basically, I would say, well, of course, for technical interviews, expect the unexpected, right? But of course, you have 24 hours. You will have to do as much research as you can, as much as possible, to provide them with the best possible answer. Usually those kind of questions will be about, there will be scenario-based questions. I'll just share an insight. Like recently my firm was actually recruiting for managers externally, technical managers. And then we prepared, scenario-based questions on how you can effectively manage this kind of situations or this kind of team. And then we give the candidates, I think, about 48 hours to go and prepare, right? You might not tick all the boxes, but you want to, I'll tell you to research as much as possible and engage people who are already in that space. And that's one of the advantages of your of platforms like LinkedIn, where you can connect with people in different fields. You can quickly push the question out there, or you join some of these forums, right? There are a lot of forums, technology forums, where you can post questions and then they can give you insights into what that is all about. And that will help you start off or adding to what you already
Microsoft will make
an idea that you already have
Microsoft
about the
project.
answer. I don't know if that makes any sense or if that's clear to you.
All right, thank you, Shegun. I hope it will make sense to him. And if it doesn't yet, let's Shegun on LinkedIn and continue from there, please. All right.
Okay.
Okay,
It was code exercises. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was code exercises. That's why I was asking. I'll reach out on LinkedIn. So I won't take your time.
Please do. So finally, the last question for today from Oluwatobi. Oluwatobi, your question in 30 seconds.
All right. Thank you so much, brother. All right. I want to ask Shegun, because I think he was first speaker. So I think you make mention of some guys that help with CV and optimization. So okay. I don't know if I can have access to it.
Okay, of course, it's fine. We can connect on LinkedIn and then I can share some of the contacts with you.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you very much.
I think I've sent you a connection already. Check.
Oh, okay. I'll accept. I think I just noticed that. That's fine. Thanks.
All right, Suru and Oluwatobi, please, you can drop your hand. Yes, we are not sharing money, so you can drop your hand. And finally, Emmanuel, I wish we can just see your face. Emmanuel, I really wish you can see your face. But if you say that we can't see it, no problem. We'll just manage.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not camera ready. So sorry.
I understand.
Can Bukola, can you please share your LinkedIn also for us?
Oh yes, I did it now. Yes, I did, right? I did. Okay, let me share it again. Please, few seconds. All right, few seconds. Okay.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, so I've sent it. Thank you, everyone. And Shegun, let's see your face one more time. Thank you very much, Shegun. Thank you for the time. I understand that you have a busy schedule, but yes, you did create time to join us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, both Shegun and Emmanuel. Most importantly, thank you to everyone that here, people that have left and people that stay on the call. I hope time. I do hope it's worth your time. Thank you, and do have a lovely, beautiful weekend. Now for the recording, all right. Should I make the recording available? Should I make the recording available? You guys want the recording?
Yes,
yes, please. I joined late. Please.
I can't see. I can't.
Ma, why did you give us recording for last week?
Please drop it in the chat. You want the recording? You don't want to answer since
you didn't give us recording for last week.
People that said yes.
Please share the recording. Yes.
Just drop it in the chat. So I'll just take screenshot of the names of people that are interested in
yes,
the recording.
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just 8 people. Okay. 7 people. 7. But I've seen it, yes, 3 times. 7 people, 8, 9. Okay, just 9 people. Fine. I've screenshot the names of people that are interested, and I'll I'll send it to them. Okay, just 10 people. All right, thank you.
Please, I joined late. Share.
No, I'm taking screenshot of people that are interested. I can see the yes. in the group, and that shows that the session today was what the time was loaded. Thank you, everyone. I'll make the recording available to everyone. Abi, Jesus Christ died for all, so I'll be like Jesus. I'll send it to your group leads so that you can have access to it. Thank you, everyone. Do have a lovely weekend. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, Ellen. Thank you. Bye.